and then we'll kick off. Woo! And welcome, everybody. It's my absolute great pleasure to welcome Alicia O'Neal. Woo!
Hi.
Is healthy eating lifestyle coach, cancer researcher, and vegetarian foodie. Welcome, beautiful lady.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here. Liz, I just love your spirit. I love your just heart, and I'm just so happy to be here today.
Oh, and I love you too. Thank you.
Of course.
So, we will kick off. What does self-care mean for you?
I think self-care for me means striking a balance. And I mean that in a lot of ways. So for me, and a lot of women, I assume, we like to serve, we like to support people, we like to really pour into and help as many people as we possibly can. And so for me, I think it's striking a balance between serving and giving my best to other people, but also giving myself my best too. I think that's so critical because a lot of times, especially I've experienced in my past, I'll put myself on the back burner. Oh, I've got this huge to-do list, so I'll have to take care of all these things. And so I think that for me, when I hear the word self-care, I think it means really strike a balance between how you serve others and how you serve yourself. So that's what I would say, and that's what I recommend to a lot of my clients and a lot of people that I work with. I work primarily with women, and so I think that as wonderful beings and wonderful women, we should just really make sure that we are focusing on how to strike that balance between how we serve each other, but also how we serve ourselves. So yes.
Ooh, I love it. That's a beautiful analogy. And it's completely different. No one's actually said about striking that balance between. So, yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. And it's not easy. That's the tough thing. It's really, really not easy at all to figure out how exactly to strike that balance. And it takes work. It takes this renewal every single day. I always tell not only myself, but also people that I work with, we are constantly having to learn positive habits and healthy habits, but unlearn and break negative habits. And that's hard. Like, it's one thing to say, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to put myself first. It's another thing to actually draw the bath, light the candle, take 15 minutes away from everybody else, take some time to journal in the morning. So it's a total different plane when you actually have to take the time out to do it for yourself.
Ooh, I love that. And those examples as well. So, I'm going to pull on a few of those details. So,
Of course.
when you're making the self-care time for yourself, do those around you, are they aware that that is your self-care time?
I think it's so important. So I can use a personal example actually. So for about the past 3 years or so, I lived by myself. But then when COVID hit, I decided my apartment lease was up and I was like, oh, I'll just move home. It'll be nice. I knew that I was going to be moving to a different city. So I knew there was going to be like a few months interim where I was like, I can just stay at home for a little while. And so it's totally different when you're used to having your own space and then you go back to living with your family, who I'm very close with. We're all very close with each other, all very transparent with each other. But I had to stay, because when I was living by myself, I was used to doing yoga when I wanted to. I was just used to living on my own schedule, having my own clock. And if I wanted to cook at certain times, I'd cook. If I wanted to wait for dinner, I'd wait for dinner. And so I really enjoy cooking. I love to cook. So when I was at home, what I noticed was like, at first I'd be like, oh, okay, like I'm going to make dinner. Like this is what we're having. And then a few weeks later, I just didn't cook dinner one night. And everybody was like, coming to my room, checking in. Hey, how's everything going? And at first I was like, wow, I really love today. And then my younger brother, who's like, he's just like, he's straightforward. He just says, so what's for dinner? And I'm like, what do you mean what's for dinner? He's like, you've been cooking us dinner. He's like, and now we just don't have anything to eat. And I'm like, oh. So I just, had to explain in that instance. I was like, everybody, I know that we love when Alicia cooks, but I was just doing this, because I enjoyed making the meals, not because I was trying to set this expectation that I would always make meals every single night. And so, we all laughed about it and we just like ordered something in. But even still, my younger brother, so he's a college student, but he's staying with me now over the summer. And so, yeah, great experience. We're very, very close. And so even still, I have to tell him, okay, like he'll just, he gets very excited. So he'll just knock on my door and be like, sissy, sissy. And I'll be like, okay, I can do this in the morning, or I'll have to look into it. Like he'll have all these ideas. And so I think that it's very important, what you bring up, to let people know when you are trying to advocate for yourself for that self-care time, whether it's you physically going to the yoga studio, whether it's you physically saying, I just need to go eat dinner by myself tonight, whether it's you saying, this quiet time in the morning is for me and Jesus only. Like, yes, it's great for us to for us to all do things together, or I just need to watch a movie by myself. Like I noticed that like doing that transition for that bit of time where I was, I've been living by myself and then going back home, it was like every bit of time is family time. And it's like, that is, having a family is so wonderful. And it's something that you have to cherish every moment that that you possibly can. But at the same time, you definitely have to advocate for yourself when you know you need that space, and don't wait. Oh my goodness. Do not wait until, I always talk about, with my clients, I say there's a phrase I use called pounds of anger. And like where, when you get frustrated about something, like somebody leaving some dishes out, right? Or always expecting you to wash the dishes, then you're like, this is annoying. And so you're washing the dishes and you're angry. And then by the time that you wash the dishes, you're all fine and everything is good. But then it's like, not only are the dishes out, but then there's laundry everywhere. And then everybody always expects you to do all the gathering of the clothes and then put them in the washer and get everything started. So then you're like, I don't want to do this. And you're just gathering things. And so it's all these things until one day somebody leaves a glass of juice half drank, like on the counter, and you just explode. You're like, I don't understand why this juice is still here. What is going on? And everybody's like, sis, mom, what? Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Calm down, just breathe. And so that's why I always say, don't let those pounds of anger build. You gotta advocate for yourself early on. Say early on, I need this time. And I think self-care is a daily thing. I always say daily motivation and daily commitment equals daily transformation. And so if you are willing every day to put in the commitment, you're willing every day to try and find that motivation, even when are dragging your feet, you will get that daily transformation. And like I said, the self-care journey is difficult sometimes. And sometimes you need to do it every single day. So yeah, so in order to really get what you need from what people boast and boost about self-care, you got to do it every day. So yeah, definitely advocate for whatever the amount of time is. It could be midday, just 5 minutes in the car before you go into the house every day. Like, you would be surprised what self-care is for certain people, but that's the beauty of it, because it's self-care. So you decide what it is that you need.
Oh, that is amazing. There are so many pearls of wisdom in there. I absolutely love it.
Thank you.
Wow. And yeah, it's going to be perfect because I'm going to take the audio from this and pop it into like a kind of an ebook format. And that is going to sing. Beautiful. Thank you.
No problems whatsoever. I love that idea. Oh my goodness, it's going to be fantastic. And so many people, right? Their lives will be able to be blessed by that, because I know that you said it's your mission, your goal to reach 3 million people. And some people, words reach people in different ways. So some people will love to see the video, they'll love to see our facial expressions. Others will want to read it, possibly listen to it. So I absolutely adore that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, thinking about somebody very, very beginning, starting
Mhm.
with self care, have never really even thought about it before. What would you suggest as that starting point?
Okay, three things. The first thing is sit down for 5 minutes and don't do anything at all. Don't do anything at all. See where your mind wanders, see what you think about, see what stresses you out, see how your body feels. Is it easy for you to just sit and breathe and rest? Or are you agitated? Are you thinking about how you have to do something and how you should be somewhere and where so and so needs to be going and who you need to be helping and all the things on your to do list? Just sit and observe yourself and your thoughts for 5 minutes. And then from there, ask yourself, what makes me happy? Like literally. And that's something that I would say assess and write down over the span of a few days. Like, write down when you're watching a commercial and something makes you laugh. Like, oh, I laughed when the mailman said XYZ. Or, like just write down different things that make you happy throughout the day. And then from there, look at that list, see if there are any trends because it'll surprise us, right? Like it will literally surprise us. So if you look at your list and after a span of 2 or 3 days, you have like 4 things where you laughed at different things that were said on a commercial, then you need to watch TV or at least Hulu or YouTube or somewhere where you know that you're going to get commercials where you'll be able to watch different things of people that can make you laugh, or that maybe you should watch a comedy show. And that's just one way of self-care. So I would say do those 3 things. So the first is just sit for 5 minutes. Just sit for 5 minutes and observe yourself, your thoughts. Number 2, take them over a span of about 2 days and just write down, like on a post-it note or a sticky note, type it in your phone notes, anything. What has made you happy? What's made you laugh? What has brought you joy over that span of time? And then look at that list and just reflect and say, oh, okay, I had 5 times where I was on the move somewhere and it made me feel a little bit at peace, right? I was outside and it made me feel like I was relaxed. And then you know that you need to spend about 5 minutes outside every day, or that, spend a little time watching a TV show, or if you were reading something and it made you feel like, wow, I'm invigorated. I feel like I'm learning things. I feel like I'm growing. Then you know that you need to read a new article every day, right? So for different people, it's going to be different things, but I think that simple like 1, 2, 3 process is very easy and very straightforward and can happen in the span of like 2 or 3 days. And then you know what you like to do for self-care.
You're amazing, and I love you. I love
Thank
it.
you, thank you, thank you.
It's beautiful. And so simple. So I love that. The one, two,
Yes.
three.
And that's what
Perfect.
you want. You want things to be simple. You, as much as I love to travel, because this is what you get into, and this is a problem that I ran into during COVID. Traveling very much so in the past was I don't want to say an escape, but it was just something that I loved to do. Like, oh, I'm kind of bored. I'm going to take a drive somewhere. Oh, I'm kind of, feeling like in a funk. So let me figure out where I can go for a trip. It was like literally this thing that I would use to amp up and keep me like driven. And while, of course, booking trips and traveling and exploring new places was, of course, a form of self-care, what happens when the world shuts down? And all of a sudden, you literally are stuck in the same place. And so it's like if you only have one method of self care, one thing that you depend and rely on, or one thing that's elaborate, right? Like, depending on the things that I have on my work schedule, I may not just be able to drop everything and just go for some random spontaneous trip. Of course, it's helpful having a business that, operates virtually, but at the same time, I may not just be able to go for a walk on the beach, right, at any given moment in the day. And so it's like you want things. God bless those people that live in California or by beaches where they can just walk over to the beach and they're like, oh, I'm here. Okay, jealous of that. But I live in a state that's landlocked, so not as lucky. So anyways, you want things to be simple. You don't want it to be complicated. You want there to be things that you can pretty much do every day regularly, to where you can get in a habit. Like I said, we want to break those unhealthy behaviors and we want to build healthy habits. So in order to do that, it has to be something that you can do pretty regularly.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Of
Yeah, we
course, of course.
we get to keep it simple.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Not always easy, but simple.
Yes. Yeah. And that is a distinction, right? Because like you said before, especially when it comes to advocating for yourself, like needing that time, like whether you're a busy mom, you're a businesswoman, you are responsible for things at your church or where you volunteer, or a combination of all four, like on it, because there are many women that are like that, that honestly you have to, it's hard to advocate for yourself. It's you feel selfish to say, I need 15 minutes. Like I can't work on this right now, or this time is mine, right? You feel selfish for saying that because you know how many people need you and all the other things that can be done. So it isn't easy all the time, but simple it can be.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And
Of course.
so, speaking into obviously, you love traveling, and you've
Yes.
mentioned about the beach. What are your kind of favorite happy and joyful places?
Ooh, so definitely, and so this one is specifically related to travel. I've moved around a lot. So I'm from small town Indiana in the US. And then I ended up going to school in upstate New York for college, but then spent some time in New York City. And after that, I moved to Scottsdale, Arizona, and now I live in Kansas City, Missouri. And so I feel like for me, they say home is where the heart is, or like home is where the people that like surround you and you just feel, the quotes. And so, and so I feel like for me, places that I find myself happiest are where I'm being filled by people that I care about and people that care about me. So we met in a Christian women networking group. And that has become a way for me to provide self-care for myself regularly, because I'm like, I know that these women are going to be supporting me. I know that they're going to be caring about me. I know that they have my best interests at heart. And I know that it's a place where I can be honest and open and talk about really important things that have just been prevalent in my life for that week, right? And so I encourage people, like, really use self-care and think about what is it that I need in ways that don't always require you to show up for yourself. Like, you will have to show up to actually do those things and actually put the steps in motion, but see who is around you or who are people that can touch you to really support and uplift you. Maybe, if you're in a relationship or married, your partner or your spouse can just say, hey, I can cook dinner tonight, or I can go and run the errands, or I can go ahead and pick up the dry cleaning instead. Like, those are things, advocate for yourself and what you need. And in terms of a few other things that I really like to do, I love to read. And and even though I am a like healthcare professional and like person in like the science field and cancer researcher and all sorts of things like that, my self-care is reading romance books. And I absolutely love them, from like the ones that you can download for free online to the ones that you buy through like Kindle Unlimited, through the ones that like you pick up at the half price bookstore. I love reading books, and I love reading romance books, and that's definitely a way that I care for myself. Another thing is, I really like to listen to music. I am an emotional person, so I listen to music based on my moods. And so I realized this about myself, I think years ago, maybe like 10 years ago at this point, I realized that I like to listen to music based on my moods. And then what really helped me was actually doing that. So if I am feeling frustrated, I'm turning on some rock music. If I am happy, then I'm like, turn on, some, happy music. If it's rainy outside, I need to listen to some blues or some soul music, then I allow myself to do that. If I just need like some acoustic music, I let myself listen to music based on my moods. And I think that what that does is it really validates the way that I'm feeling. It really helps me see that, don't worry, like, it's okay that you feel this way. It's not something that's going to be lasting for forever. And it just makes me feel like so much better. So yeah, so that's definitely something that I do. And you'll be surprised, because songs, especially if you put it on something like Pandora or Spotify, they will carry you across a genre into other genres. And so what I found is, by the time that I'm done listening, it might be on a simple drive, it might be just me in my apartment cooking or doing something, it might be me prepping for a meeting, but by the time that like Spotify is finished carrying me over the genre, I'm like, wow, feel a lot happier. I feel a lot freer. So I feel like, and also I'm an active person. So I do like going for walks and like just doing physical activity and things of that nature. I also like to cook. Cooking new recipes, I realize, is something that is a form of self-care for me too, because it's like if I'm feeling like I didn't get a lot accomplished during the day, right? I just am like, okay, well, let me go on Pinterest and find a totally random recipe, or I'll just pick what I have a taste for and be like, okay, I'm just going to whip something random together. And I think that makes me feel accomplished because it's like, well, you tried something new. You tried something all the way new that was totally out there and different. And I think that those are really great ways of self-care that I usually take part in.
Ooh, I love it. Yeah, so validating yourself through the
Mhm.
music and letting your emotions flow through, especially with the
Yes.
help of Spotify there,
Yes. Yes.
um,
Yes.
is beautiful. And then with the cooking, you're being creative, so you are
Mhm.
creating something.
Exactly,
Um,
I am. And I think too, for busy women, it's very important for us to feel a sense of accomplishment at the end
yeah,
of the day. Because if we don't, then we make up all these stories about like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere in life. I'm failing. I'm just not being productive. I don't know. I don't have any direction. When in reality, those are just stories we make up. But but at the same time, it's like I said, that daily motivation, daily transformation. Like that's, you have to put in the work every day to really get something out and see like progress. So yeah.
yeah, I love it. Superstar lady.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So it leads me on to my last kind of proper question.
Okay.
How do you celebrate your wins and your
Mhm.
accomplishments?
Okay, so again, not a surprise coming from the posh veg, but food is a way, and this is why I'm very passionate about um, developing positive relationships with food or healthy relationships with food, because for me, food is at the helm of all of my experiences. So when I celebrate, like I love a good meal, whether that's me making a meal, whether that's me ordering like my favorite meal out, whether that's me going and sitting at a restaurant that I love, food. That's definitely a way that I celebrate myself. And I think that a lot of people think like, oh, I celebrate with food. And then I don't know why people do this, but they have celebrations with food and they'll be unhealthy food. So they only think that the only way for you to celebrate is by having like a huge greasy pizza or a huge tub of ice cream or like a big cake. And I'm like, well, like I'm like, can we? Because if you don't, and sometimes some people do eat those things every single day, but most of the time they don't. And I'm like, so if you don't these things every day, which nothing is wrong with celebrating, but why is that your go-to for celebration? Like if you always say, for example, eat yogurt every day, right? Yogurt is something a lot of people eat every day, and that's not even something that's intensely healthy, right? If you eat yogurt every single day, why is it that when you have a moment to celebrate, you want to go, you just are like, oh, I need a piece of cheesecake? It's like, why don't we just try a different type of yogurt? Like, why don't we just try something that's different, give ourselves a little different flavor? And so I think that that's what I realized. So for me, it's like, I am, even though I do use food as like a celebration and things like that, it's not something where I'm like, okay, let me just go out and eat whatever it is that I can find or the most unhealthiest thing because I did good. Because what that in turn does is it puts you in this unhealthy loop with food. So food is a way that I celebrate for sure. Another way that I celebrate is just talking with I journal. I journal. So like, when I'm excited about something, I like tell myself, I'm like, yes, girl, like you did this. Like, and so I'll journal about things. I also like to dance. So I'll have like little, dance parties and things like that. And that's always a good way to get yourself like moving and things like that. And it doesn't have to be good dance moves. I'm sure there are plenty of people, thousands, millions of people that dance better than I do. But it's just, but it's just the part of like celebrating, like, making myself feel good about the things that I'm accomplishing. So yeah. And then one area that I could work on is I am so bad about sharing my life accomplishments with not just, the world, but also with people that are, important to me and like want to hear about things. So an example of that is graduating for my master's program. I literally, and this happened during COVID. So, like, of course, there was a lot happening and things were just lots of moving parts, right? It was so funny. I literally had moved from Arizona to Indiana and then to Kansas City. So I moved 3 times during COVID. And in the midst of that, I had graduated from my program and had some other like life accomplishments happen. And it was so funny because I think maybe in October or so, I was engaging with some friends again on social media, and they were like, "How's your program? Do you still live in Arizona?" And like, these people that I consider myself, pretty close with. And I was like, I did not say anything about the fact that I like graduated, moved 3 times, and like am now in a different phase in life. And I think that that's a lesson, not just for myself, but for all of us, that we have to do better with like sharing our wins with other people. It's one thing to celebrate it yourself and one thing to be proud of yourself and be like, yes, I did it. But at the same time, it's another thing to be like, hey, world, this is what I'm up to. This is what I've been doing. This is why I've been a little quieter. This is why, I look different. This is why I feel different. And that's something that I always say, like, don't think that wins have to be only external things that, are visible to the eye. Sometimes we're just in a better place mentally, and that's worth celebrating. So I feel like, I think that what I do to celebrate, definitely always have a good meal, a good snack, something. And like I said, good doesn't have to mean unhealthy. And I think oftentimes we equate that, like those two things. But yeah, so I always have a good meal. And then sometimes do little dance parties just by myself, like, I'm just like excited. And then I also journal because I think it's a really beautiful process to like benchmark and write down different things so that you can see where you've traveled over time. But a way that I can improve with that is also making sure that I share my wins outwardly with, not just the people that are most important to me, but also people that may need encouragement. Like, think about the reason why we think things are wins, because whatever we accomplished was difficult for us or was a journey that we had to go through. And so I think if we stay quiet about those things, somebody else is missing out on it, right? Like, somebody else is not able to hear about the fact that somebody else went through that journey and the encouragement to know that they can get through that too. So yeah.
Yeah. Again, amazing, amazing points. There's so much value in here. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
No problem. More than happy to.
Oh, so lovely. So, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
Yes. So I would love to talk about really the Posh Veg and what I do with the Posh Veg, and then an amazing program that I have coming up. So the Posh Veg, the Posh Veg is a healthy eating and lifestyle business, but the Posh Veg is also me. And so yes, and so I am a vegetarian. I have been for quite a while now, and I absolutely love it. There are so many benefits that come from not just eating healthier and eating cleaner, but also incorporating green, just eating the rainbow, right? I think that that is something that is so beneficial and so wonderful and really can just enhance your body from the inside out, right? Like, your skin is clearer, you have more energy. You're less likely to have chronic diseases. You're just in a better place altogether in life. And so, usually with a lot of my clients, I explain to them, if you're having trouble sleeping, or if you're having difficulty focusing, or if you're a lot more tired throughout the day, you've just been noticing yourself more lethargic, I always encourage them to incorporate more vegetables and fruits in their daily diet. Now, I am not the type of healthy eating and lifestyle coach that recommends to people everybody must be plant-based, because I don't believe that. I believe that being plant-based is wonderful and it's phenomenal, and it's just really this amazing way of eating and life that I have adapted, and many of my clients have adapted, and people that I work with. However, I also work with people on a variety of other health goals that they may have. So my main goal with the Posh Veg is I help women transform their minds and bodies without sacrificing the foods they love. And I think that that is just so wonderful, because we all love certain foods, right? We all have that food that just makes us feel good inside, makes us want to do a little dance, close our eyes, like hum a little bit. We all have that, whether that's mom's cooking, whether that's some restaurant that we love in town, a diner that we always used to go to as a kid. And I I think that it's very important to know that you can have those physical and mental health transformations, whether that's with healthy eating, moving away from binge eating or emotional eating, but then also being able to enjoy the foods that you love, but just in moderation. And so one of the programs that I'm working on now is called Seamlessly Meatless. And it is for people that would like to transition fully to a plant-based diet, for people that would like to be vegan, vegetarian, or just incorporate more fruits and vegetables into their diet plans. And I am somebody that, since I am a healthcare practitioner and also a healthy eating and lifestyle coach, I really love combining my scientific knowledge with my expertise and just experience that I've gathered from working with different clients and people. So that's what this program does. It tells you everything that you need to know. It's a live 8-week course from literally beginning to end, taking you on the journey to becoming a plant-based eater or just incorporating more fruits and vegetables into your diet. There will be free meal plans that you'll be able to have every single week that will have enough recipes to have meals, 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. There will be live cooking classes. There will be guest speakers that are plant-based that will tell you about all sorts of awesome ways to really benefit from a plant-based diet. Like, we're going to have somebody come in and talk about sustainability and composting so that you can benefit the earth. And I'll share different details about how you can eat well and eat clean. And I'll also have a up to 1 hour session every week where we learn and talk about all sorts of different things and difficulties in the plant-based journey. So trying to become plant-based when your spouse, partners, family, friends are not, how to eat out at restaurants while being plant-based, how to be plant-based and get nutritious meals that are flavorful while still feeling full at the end of the meal. And so we're going to talk about all of those things. And a lot of people in the past have approached me and saying, I would be vegan, but I just feel like I wouldn't have much variety, or I would be vegetarian, but how do you even cook tofu? I would be plant-based, but do restaurants even have good food for you to eat? Or just like, I would be vegan, it's so much more expensive. And so I'm here to dispel all of those things. And so with my program, Seamlessly Meatless, it's an 8-week live course. And if y'all would like to join me, it's an amazing journey. You will not want to miss. We're going to have prizes, giveaways. It's just going to be a phenomenal experience. And for all of you that are here in this summit today, I'm just so excited, so happy to speak with you and be here, and so happy that you are here. And because you are here, you're going to get a special discount. So if you go ahead and click the link that Liz is going to share with you, you will be able to take advantage of the special discount. Now, keep in mind, this summit is will be starting on August 2nd. So you'll want to make sure that you're taking advantage of the discount as soon as possible, because it won't last forever. But we are just going to have an amazing time in the Seamlessly Meatless program. And I know without a doubt, if you would like to be plant-based, if you know that you need to take the transition or just incorporate more fruits and vegetables for your health so that you can improve every day and so that you can feel better, have more energy, be more energetic, then we would love to have you. It's going to be a great time. So that's really all that I have to share. And for any of you that have any questions for me, feel free to contact me. You can find me at the Posh Veg on really any social platform. My website is just www.theposhveg.com. Connect with me in any way that you possibly may need. Ask me questions. I will get back with you and answer as many of them as I possibly can.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for that super kind discount. It's really lovely of you.
No
Very
problem.
grateful. And thank you so much for sharing your time and all of your expertise that you have shared in the interview today. I know you have so many more hidden
Yes, I was
away
gonna
in
say there's
there.
so much more. There's so much
Yeah.
more.
I had to really be careful on that. I was like, you haven't shared everything, but everything you've shared, I'm super grateful for. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Thank you for putting together this summit. I think that self-care is something that we oftentimes neglect, and we see the repercussions, right? And how we physically feel, how our mental health is, how the combination of the two kind of throw us off track and off of our progress and where we should be. So Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And yes, we get to move forwards more healthily and
Yes.
happily.
Yes, healthily and happily. Yes, that's my main thing, healthy and happy.
Woo! Thank you, lady.
You're
Mwah.
welcome.